going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. Today, I want to talk about these guys right here. I want to talk about my Google Pixel 8, and I want to talk about my iPhone 15 Pro. Now, kind of the reason that I want to talk about these is at this point in where we're in the life cycle of both these phones. They came around about the same time. This came out September 18th, I believe it was, of last year, and this came out on October 12th. So we're both at that point in their lifespan that it's about about a third of the life of the yearly cycle between these two phones. So I just kind of wanted to talk about with these kind of some things that I've noticed, what I like, what I don't like, things like that. So jumping into it, we're going to start with the Pixel 8 first. Right off the bat, I love this color. I realize that's not the only thing or only reason to pick out one of these for yourself, but I'm a sucker for anything green. So the fact that this comes in, I don't remember if it's sage or eucalyptus or whatever they call it, but it's always like a funny color, but it is green. You can't, it's a different, it doesn't look as nice on camera as it does in person, but I can assure you it is a beautiful color. Kind of right off the bat, some of the other pros that I like. I like the screen. It's a good screen size. It's a 6.2-inch display. It's got AMOLED display technology, and it is a OLED panel. So one of the higher quality panels. It's Gorilla Glass Victus. Is it Victus or Victus 2? I think it's Victus 2, but don't quote me on that. It's super nice. It's also this year they have it is more of a flat display. It's not one of those ones that it curves over the edge, which I personally like better than the ones that curve over the edge a little bit more. I like the aluminum rails. It's nice. It feels nice in the hand. It's a nice overall good size phone. Cameras, they're great. Pixel, I've always said this about Pixel. It's more software at this point than hardware, but there is still some great hardware in both the two back shooters and I think it's a 12 megapixel. Yeah, I believe it's a 12 megapixel shooter on the front. 10.5. I was close. So that I do appreciate. It's a beautiful screen, and it's just great. Some things that I do appreciate over the Pixel 8 to its Pixel 7 predecessor. The face unlock is a lot better. It's a lot faster on this one. It's just super fast. I do like that a lot better. It works a lot better, which is also really cool because in this one now, compared to the previous one, you can actually use your facial recognition for like banking apps, transactions, wallets, secure stuff like that, which you could not do in the previous one because it was not secure yet. Fingerprint sensor on this, it's okay. This is probably one of my I don't have very many gripes with this phone, but that is one that I've had. I'm not sure if it's a hardware thing or even a tensor thing, because this has been a problem since the Pixel 6 when they started using their own ARM processors. The fingerprint scanner is it's hit or miss every time. You have to be the thing that I want, or the thing that I like, especially why I tend to prefer face unlock most of the time, is just that I don't want to have to think about it when I'm unlocking my phone. I want to be able, like when it comes to the face unlock, I want to be able to just look at it, it sees my face, unlocks, we're good to go. I'd like that be the same way with the fingerprint sensor, but the thing is with the Pixel 8, which is what I noticed with its 7 and 6 predecessors, you have to be very deliberate where you put it. And sometimes it just doesn't even work. There's an old Android trick and this worked on iPhones too when they had their fingerprint sensors. If you registered your fingerprint multiple times, you got a better read from the fingerprint sensor. That being said, the Pixel 8, it can only store up to 4 fingerprints. So I had, like right now, mine's programmed, it has both of my thumbs in there twice. And it's just, I still have to be very deliberate about where I put my thumb. And the other thing too, I work in a job that like I'm working with tools all day, my hands get dirty, stuff like that. If there's anything on my fingers as well, the fingerprint sensor doesn't like to work. So I'm not sure how they would fix that in the future. Maybe if they got like a different sensor that was a little bigger, had a big optical sensor. I'm not sure. But that is, and then just really the only other thing is just, actually no, that's really it. The only thing that kind of bugs me at this point is just the fingerprint sensor on my Google Pixel 8. I'm going to keep preaching this. I'm still very much in the camp that at the moment when it comes to the Pixel devices, you don't need the Pro version. They widen it a little bit. There's a little bit of a bigger gap between the two models now. They're $100 more this year, where the Pixel 8 starts at, I believe it starts at $699 this year. Yes, it starts at $699. A lot of places they're on sale right now. You can get them for a little cheaper than that. And the Pixel 8 starts at $999 this year. So they've brought it back. They've spec'd it up to the bigger brothers and the other flagships that are in the space this year. So there is a little bit of a difference. Pixel 8 has some different hardware. It's got bigger cameras. It's got a bigger screen. It's got more RAM. The Pixel 8 only has 8 gigs of RAM, whereas the Pixel 12 starts with 10 gigs of RAM. And that is another thing that I want to like bring in on phones. Like I realize that they're phones, but we do a lot with our phones. And so I just feel like it's silly that we're still only putting 8 gigs of RAM in phones. I understand that you can buy more, but I personally think it's a little silly. Just put a little more in there. Put like 10. Like just make it more than 8, please. But yeah, so it's got more RAM. It's got different sensors. It's a little bigger, and it has that temperature thing. That apparently that doesn't work on people, but it works on things. So I guess that's cool. But overall, I still prefer the Pixel 8 over the regular Pixel over the Pro, and I think if you're looking to pick one up for yourself, you will too. So that's all I have to say about Pixel 8. Now, iPhone 15 Pro. This one I'm gonna have a little more to say because this one is actually my personal daily driver. This is the one I use every day. My Pixel phone is kind of just the Android phone that I keep with me just because I'm weird and I like to have two of them. But my iPhone is my baby. It is the one that I carry in my pocket every day and the one I use the most. So, my thoughts on iPhone 15 Pro. Excuse me. I like it a lot. Probably my most favorite thing, which is silly, but also not really that silly, that they finally adopted USB-C. I think that's awesome. It is it also supports USB 4, so it can also you can also use Thunderbolt with it. You can use USB-C hubs with it. I can use the same one. I can use the USB-C hub that I use for my MacBook Air in my iPhone 15 Pro. Which also means that if I wanted to, I can hook my phone directly to my router with an Ethernet cord with that dongle. Do I need to? No. Can I still pull the ridiculously fast speeds from my router then? Yes. And I just think that's neat. Other things that I appreciate about the iPhone 15 Pro, I appreciate the build that they went with this year. The titanium, they went from stainless steel to titanium. It feels really nice. It's still a fingerprint magnet, but it's less of a fingerprint magnet. And I like the matte rails that they went with this year rather than the shiny stainless steel that they had in the Pros before this. And also, I don't know if you can tell on this, but there's kind of a slight beveled edge to it this year. So there's still squared off edges, but they're rounded now instead of just the square box. So it's a little less hard on your fingers and your hands, and it's a little more comfortable hold. It also feels lighter. It is significantly lighter than my previous iPhone 13 Pro that I had been carrying before, and that is again because of the titanium build. Action button. The iPhone 15 Pro, it replaced the mute switch for an action button this year. It's alright. I was super excited about it come its release of all the stuff that like they were planning to do with it, but I personally think it's a little bit overrated. It's kind of in a weird spot. I mean, once you've lived with the phone for a while, you get used to it. But it's just kind of like if you hold it like this, the shutter button's down here, which feels a little unnatural. I feel like because especially that's where you're supporting the phone is from the bottom, and you kind of have to take off the one thumb to it. You have to use this hand to support it more, which not a big deal. It's not a super heavy phone anymore, but it's just something to think about. But yeah, I currently there's a bunch of different toggles that you can set it to. I currently just have mine set to open up my camera and be used as a shutter button, just like this. I feel like that's what a lot of people did with the iPhone 15 models. But I just wish, the thing I wish, and this might be more of a software thing, is that they would give you the chance to customize these two buttons at the bottom, because you have your flashlight down here, and then you also still have that one that actually opens the camera. So it's a little redundant to have two buttons right there at your disposal when you pull the phone out to open your camera. I wish that if you chose to like do your camera on one of those, that they would let you switch it out with something else. Like maybe they let you like open Spotify or use that as the mute switch instead, since you can't actually program the action buttons to do multiple things at once. And like that's another gripe, not really a gripe, but just something I think in the next version of it they should improve on, letting the action button do multiple different things, kind of like a multi-press ability. In Android, there's this shortcut that if you double press the power button, it opens your camera. And so something like that where you can just put more functionality into the action button, I think would be nice to see. So overall thoughts, it's nice, but I feel like it's a little overrated and got a lot of hype for what we ended up getting. Overall, Dynamic Island. So the Dynamic Island is again in the iPhone 15 models this year, and it's in all of them, in the regular iPhone 15s as well. It's not just limited to the Pros this year, which I think was a good decision on Apple's part. It's cool. I like having it. It's just one of those things that you get used to after a while, kind of like we got used to the notch. The one thing that I will say about it, and I think I may have mentioned this in one of either my hands-on or my review that I did of the iPhone, the Dynamic Island, like if you're doing music, timers, shows, all the things that are going on, if you turn it sideways, all those kind of just collapse into the island and hide away. You can tap on the island and it'll show up again, but they just naturally all go, they don't show them. And so that's just something I notice, because when I'm using my phone like for navigation, I have a mount and I have it sit sideways just because you can see more when you're navigating that way. And that's just something I notice because I navigating, listening to Spotify, stuff like that. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, overall, I do really like my iPhone 15 Pro. I would honestly recommend it over the regular 15. Not that the 15 is a bad phone, but I personally like the Pro models better than the regular 15s. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about my two phones for coming into the new year. If you have any thoughts, let me know what you guys think about these phones, or if there's different phones that you have maybe you have different opinions about them. What phones do you have in your pockets going into the new year? Let me know down in the comments below. Let's talk about it. That's all I have to say. I hope you guys are staying safe out there. There's snow coming where I live. There's a big snowstorm that they've pretty much allotted most of the week for. So wherever you're at, just be safe with your weather, with snow. It's January. Winter's coming. Winter's here. So, yeah. That's all I have to say. Hope you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.